What do you get when you decide to abandon an audience you've spent 50 years cultivating? An audience that stuck with you through thick and thin, regeneration after regeneration. All because the show stood for something. You get a show that used to be bold, intelligent, and, yeah, in its own way, masculine. Not in the beer-swilling, explosion-happy sense, but in the classic sense. Stoic, clever, moral, adventurous. But apparently that kind of masculinity is now on par with a hate crime. So what do? You swap it out, not just for something different, but for something so hollow it makes a tofu steak look like a prime cut. You replace meat with Linda McCartney, and that couldn't be a more apt metaphor for what we've got now. Fake, flavorless, and pretending to be something it's not. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Damon, and today we're talking about the slow, humiliating death of Doctor Who, because apparently having a backbone is now considered problematic. Let's talk about what Russell T Davies said recently, because it's quite revealing. In a recent interview, he said that his goal in returning to Doctor Who was to steer it away from very straight, very masculine, very testosterone-y science fiction. He thinks this is a gap the show should fill. Well, respectfully, Russell, that's complete nonsense. Doctor Who was never testosterone-fueled in the first place. It was never about biceps and bravado. That's what made it work, honestly. The Doctor didn't punch his way through problems. He thought his way out. He talked his way out. He moralized his way out. Even during the more action-driven Pertwee years, the fights were there to complement, not define. From Hartnell to McCoy, the Doctor was eccentric, alien, and above all, other. He wasn't Han Solo or Captain Kirk or Conan the Barbarian. He was Sherlock Holmes in space, and when the world around him changed, he remained that fixed point, quirky, defiant, and alien. Then came 2005, the RTD reboot, a brilliant reinvention that, ironically, introduced one of the most romanticized, heteronormative portrayals of the Doctor ever. Tennant and Rose, practically a rom-com with time travel. Yeah, I didn't go much on Daft Jamie's tenure, primarily because I didn't like him and what they did. Romance in the TARDIS, been there, done that. And now, the very man who created that dynamic is saying he's here to de-straighten the show? This isn't about making room for new ideas. This is about rewriting history to suit a new agenda. And honestly, the idea that Doctor Who was some kind of bastion of straight white male heroism is a complete fantasy. It's a straw man. RTD isn't fighting against a problem, he's creating one, so he can pose as the one fixing it. And he's following a trend, one that's, well, killing science fiction as a genre. Look at Star Wars. Rey was the answer to Luke, apparently. They shoved legacy characters aside and turned heroism into marketing bullet points. And then, look at Star Trek. Discovery thought it was revolutionary casting a black woman in the lead, forgetting that Deep Space Nine had Cisco in the 90s and Voyager gave us Janeway. She had a bigger pair than Russell ever did. You don't get to reinvent the wheel and call it progress. RTD is late to the party, and the party was a flop. Doctor Who didn't need a new identity, it needed better stories, it needed a showrunner who respected the legacy, not one trying to bury it under rainbow flags and identity checklists, while pretending the show's previous 50 years were a mistake. And I hate to break it to you, but this new version of the show, it's unbearable. The characters have the innate likability of an itchy verruca. The plots have holes bigger than Russell's ego, and the overall tone, desperate, smug, and emotionally hollow. You can dress it up in representation and progressive themes all you want, but if your writing is bad, your show will fail. And that's exactly what's happening. Viewing figures, down. Audience engagement, non-existent. No one's talking about the actual stories, just the casting, the causes, the meta-narratives. Doctor Who is, well, a shell of itself. It's been on life support for years, and now, with RTD doubling down on his crusade to redefine it, it's flatlined. We've reached the point where watching the show feels more like homework than entertainment. And honestly, I'm glad it's off the air for now. It needed to be put out of its misery. This is the Doctor. Let him be the Doctor again. Not a mouthpiece, not an agenda in a trench coat, just the same mad alien in a box who cared enough to save people, not lecture them. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where naturally I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.